The weapon just spoke high Velkari command protocols, and the humans asking if anyone has a charging cable. Kael'thas froze mid-step, his command tablet clattering to the reinforced floor of Vault 7. The impossible was happening. The artifact, the dead artifact that had sat inert in maximum security for 3 centuries, was glowing with active neural patterns and cycling through military command sequences that existed only in the most classified networks of the Velkari defense hierarchy. According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, sorry, the human said, still holding the weapon's crystalline handle with the casual grip of someone examining produce at a market. I didn't mean to break anything. Does anyone have a USB-C cable? Maybe it just needs a charge? Step away from the interface, Kael'thas barked, his secondary vocal cords producing the emergency harmonics that should have triggered every containment protocol in the facility. Should have. Nothing happened. The human, Emma Johnson, according to the visitor manifest that nobody had bothered to properly vet, just blinked at him with genuine confusion. The what now? Emma asked, looking down at the object in her hands. The weapon pulsed brighter, and a holographic display erupted from its core, flooding the vault with command scripts written in 7 different species' military languages. Kael'thas felt his circulatory system constrict. Those were override codes. Authentication sequences, the kind of protocols that could shut down orbital defense platforms or redirect automated fleets. His personal comm shrieked with incoming emergency channels. Commander, we're detecting unauthorized handshake protocols throughout the facility. His second officer's voice crackled with barely controlled panic. Origin point is Vault 7. Sir, something is attempting to authenticate with our primary military network. Lock it down, Kael'thas shouted, but even as the words left his mouth, he watched his command tablet reboot itself, displaying the same pulsing symbol now hovering above the weapon in Emma's hands. The facility's AI was being queried, probed, accessed. Okay, everyone's really upset, and I feel like I'm missing something, Emma said, her tone carrying that peculiar human mixture of concern and irritation that suggested she thought they were overreacting. I was just waiting for my tour group and saw this sitting on the examination table. It looked cool, so I picked it up. That's not a crime here, right? A crime. Kael'thas would have laughed if his species were capable of the expression, and if he weren't currently watching his entire security framework dissolve like morning frost. The human had just casually activated the most dangerous artifact in Council space, a weapon so thoroughly dead that the galaxy's foremost experts had declared it a historical curiosity, and she was worried about social protocols. The vault's blast door slammed open with enough force to crack its mounting. Azila strode through, her combat armor still steaming from rapid deployment. The weapons master of the Talaxian Empire had been in conference 3 star systems away. She'd broken faster-than-light records to get here. You told me it was secure, Azila hissed at Kael'thas, her 6 eyes fixed on the glowing artifact. You told me the architect's interface was dead. It was. Kael'thas gestured helplessly at his malfunctioning equipment. It has been for 300 years. We've had it examined by 12 different species' top xenoarchaeologists. Every test confirmed it was inert. A relic, nothing more. Well, it's not inert now, Azila said, her weapon systems automatically charging and immediately powering down again as the artifact sent a cheerful little pulse toward them. A digital handshake that said, in effect, "Hello, I already have root access to your systems, no need for hostilities." Emma shifted her weight, and the weapon moved with her, its display rotating to maintain optimal viewing angle for her eye line. Look, I get that this is obviously important, but I really was just looking at it. I didn't activate anything or press any buttons or— There are no buttons, Azila interrupted, her voice tight. That interface requires genetic authentication from a species that has been extinct for 10 million years. It shouldn't respond to anyone, least of all. She stopped herself, but Kael'thas could fill in the rest. Least of all a human, a species barely 200 years into galactic society, whose most advanced technology before first contact had been primitive chemical rockets. Kael'thas's comm exploded with a new priority channel, the crystalline emergency frequency reserved for council-level crises. Chief Intelligence Officer Zilax's holographic form materialized in the vault, his usual composed demeanor replaced with something Kael'thas had never seen before: fear. "Commander, what in the name of the Founders is happening?" Zilax demanded. "I'm receiving reports that the Architect's interface is active and broadcasting authentication requests to every military network in the sector. 3 species have contacted me in the last 60 seconds, demanding to know why we're attempting to access their command protocols." "We're not attempting anything," Kael'thas said, his voice hollow. "The artifact activated on its own." "Artifacts don't activate on their own," Zilax snapped. "Someone initiated the sequence. Someone with—" His eyes found Emma, still standing there holding the weapon like it was a slightly interesting piece of art. "Is that a human?" "Yes," Azila confirmed. "Apparently she just picked it up." Emma raised her free hand in a small wave. "Hi, Emma Johnson. I work in IT support back on Earth. I'm really sorry about whatever's happening here. Is there like a power button or something I can press to turn it off?" The weapon pulsed warmly at her words, and every screen in the vault lit up simultaneously with Velkari, military command hierarchies, information so classified that Kael'thas himself only had partial access. The artifact was showing Emma the complete organizational structure of his species' entire defense network. Zilax's hologram flickered, as if he were struggling to maintain composure. "Commander Kael'thas, you are hereby ordered to maintain maximum containment. I'm mobilizing the Council Security Response Fleet. No one touches that artifact. No one goes near that human. And for the love of everything we hold sacred—" He paused, his expression grim. "Figure out how she activated a weapon that's been dead since before her species discovered fire." Azila moved with the fluid precision of someone who had disarmed weapons for 3 centuries. Her handheld suppression field generator hummed to life, projecting the standard override frequency that forced artifacts into dormant state. She'd used it on everything from ancient plasma rifles to reality-bending superweapons. It had never failed. Until now, the Architect's interface didn't even acknowledge the suppression field. Instead, it cycled to a new display, this time showing what looked like Talaxian fleet coordination protocols. Azila's own species' military language scrolled past in perfect, pristine detail. How does it have that?" Azila breathed, her suppression field forgotten. "Those protocols were developed 40 years ago. This artifact predates our civilization by millions of years." "Maybe it's a really good guesser," Emma offered, watching the holographic text with the mild interest of someone reading a menu in a foreign language. The weapon shifted in her grip, and the display rotated smoothly to follow her gaze. New symbols appeared, angular, geometric patterns that made Kael'thas's translator implant stutter and fail. "Those are Zorathi command glyphs," Kael'thas said, his voice barely above a whisper. "From the Third Empire period. That language hasn't been spoken in 12,000 years." Emma squinted at the floating symbols. "Huh, kinda looks like the IKEA assembly instructions from hell." The weapon pulsed, almost cheerfully, and switched to another language, then another. Kael'thas recognized Cathraxian battle cant, Yulnari diplomatic codes, and something that might have been ancient Velkari from before his species had even developed spaceflight. The artifact was showing off, cycling through command languages like a translator showing its range. "Okay, this is getting weird even for me," Emma said, lowering her hand toward the examination table. "I'm just going to put this back where I found it." The weapon moved with her hand, maintaining perfect synchronization with her movements. When Emma's hand stopped 6 inches above the table, the weapon hovered there, suspended in midair, its glow intensifying as if offended by the attempted abandonment. Emma pulled her hand back. The weapon followed, settling gently back into her palm. "That's new." Kael'thas's command tablet erupted with alerts. His second officer's voice came through, now openly panicked. Sir, the artifact is sending active queries through our network infrastructure. It's not just accessing our systems, it's mapping them, complete network topology, security protocols, encryption keys. It's downloading our entire military database structure. Cut the power to the facility, Kael'thas ordered. Full electromagnetic isolation. Now. We tried, sir. The artifact is maintaining its connection through, we don't know how. The data stream doesn't follow any known transmission protocol. It's like the information is just appearing in our systems. Emma looked up from the weapon, her expression shifting from confused to concerned. Wait, is this thing hacking you guys through me? Because I didn't sign up for industrial espionage. I literally just wanted to see the cool space museum. It's not hacking, Azila said, circling the human slowly, her analytical sensors sweeping Emma from multiple angles. Hacking implies unauthorized access. This is authenticated. The artifact is behaving as if it has legitimate command authority. Through a human tourist, Zilax's hologram interjected, his form flickering with barely contained stress. That's impossible. The architects designed their systems with genetic locks, species-specific authentication that couldn't be spoofed or bypassed. Only an architect could... He stopped, his expression darkening. Activate the forced shutdown sequence. Kael'thas pulled up the emergency protocols on his rapidly deteriorating command tablet. The forced shutdown was a last resort, a massive electromagnetic pulse designed to fry any active technology within the vault. It would destroy most of their equipment, but it would definitely shut down the artifact. He entered the authorization codes and pressed execute. The pulse generators charged with a rising whine that made Kael'thas's sensory organs ache. Emma winced, covering one ear with her free hand. What is that sound? It's like a really aggressive microwave. The EMP fired. Kael'thas felt it wash over him, a wave of electromagnetic force powerful enough to disable a battleship. His tablet died instantly. The vault's lighting flickered and failed, leaving only emergency bioluminescence and the steady glow of the artifact itself, which was still active, still cycling through command languages, still hovering peacefully in Emma's hand. But now there was something else. A shimmering barrier had materialized around Emma, a defensive field that matched no known technology. The artifact had protected itself. Protected her. Okay, but it's just showing me a bunch of menus, Emma said into the shocked silence, turning the weapon slightly to get a better look at the holographic displays. See? This looks like a drop-down menu. And this might be settings? There's definitely a navigation system here. Oh, and this section has little icons. The weapon responded to her examination, expanding the displays she focused on and minimizing others. It was responding to her attention, Kael'thas realized with growing horror, not to commands or controls, but to simple curiosity. Stop looking at it, Azila snapped. You're activating command pathways. Emma jerked her gaze away, but the damage was done. The weapon had opened something new, a massive display showing organizational charts. 7 of them. Kael'thas recognized his own species' complete military command structure immediately, from the lowest-ranked security officer to the Supreme Defense Council. Next to it, the Talaxian Empire's battle fleet hierarchy, the Kathraxian Defense Collective, the Yulnari Protectorate, every major military power in the known galaxy, laid out in perfect detail, showing real-time status updates, fleet positions, and command authority chains. How is it accessing this? Zilax demanded. These networks aren't connected to each other. They're intentionally isolated, air-gapped, protected by quantum encryption. It's not accessing networks, Azila said slowly, her weapons analysis training finally catching up to what she was seeing. It's accessing the command protocols themselves, the fundamental control languages that underlie each species' military infrastructure. It's not breaking into systems, it's speaking their native command tongue. Emma was still staring at the displays, her IT support background apparently giving her just enough context to be dangerous. Oh, I think I get it. These are like admin privileges? Root access? This thing has super user permissions for all of your... She made a small scrolling gesture, probably just trying to see more of the display. The weapon interpreted it as a command. A new prompt appeared, flashing in urgent red. Fleet movement authorization requested. Confirm redeployment query for Sector 7 Alpha. Don't confirm that, Kael'thas shouted. Emma's finger was already moving toward the holographic button labeled More Info when she froze. I wasn't going to, I just wanted to see what it... Oh no. The prompt changed. Inquiry logged. Transmitting authorization request to relevant fleet commands. Kael'thas's backup communicator, a hardened military unit designed to survive EMP, came alive with 3 simultaneous priority channels. He recognized the encryption signatures immediately. The Velkari Defense Ministry, the Talaxian War Council, and the Kathraxian Strategic Command. Commander Kael'thas, the Velkari Defense Minister's voice came through cold with barely restrained fury. Explain why your facility just queried our 7th Fleet for redeployment authorization, using Founder-era authentication codes that predate our entire civilization. Before Kael'thas could respond, the Talaxian War Council representative cut in. This is an act of war, Commander. You have accessed our fleet coordination network with authority-level credentials that shouldn't exist outside our high command. We demand immediate. Both of you, silence, the Kathraxian strategic commander interrupted, her voice sharp. Commander Kael'thas, I'm reading data signatures that suggest you've activated an Architect-class interface. Confirm or deny immediately. Emma raised her hand like a student in a classroom. Hi, yeah, that might be my fault. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to ask about your fleets. I was just trying to understand what this menu does. 3 species defense ministers went silent simultaneously as they processed the fact that a human was holding the Architect's interface. Zilax's hologram had gone completely still, his expression unreadable. When he finally spoke, his voice was carefully controlled, the tone of someone who had just realized they were standing at the edge of a civilizational precipice. Commander Kael'thas, Weapons Master Azila, listen very carefully. That artifact is treating the human as an authenticated Architect command authority. It's not malfunctioning. It's not compromised. It's operating exactly as designed, which means we have a much, much larger problem than a security breach. Emma looked down at the weapon in her hand, then back up at the assembled aliens staring at her with expressions ranging from fear to existential dread. So, I'm guessing this isn't just a cool museum piece, is it? Azila's combat armor retracted as she accessed her personal archive, a collection of texts and data fragments she'd spent 2 centuries gathering. Her hands moved through holographic displays with desperate precision, pulling up files that most scholars considered religious mythology rather than technical documentation. The Architect's interface, she said, projecting an image of the weapon Emma was holding. The ancient diagram matched perfectly, down to the crystalline lattice structure and neural coupling points. According to every surviving fragment from the Founder Wars, this device was the master key to Architect technology. Their command structure was biologically locked, genetic authentication so sophisticated that it couldn't be fooled, spoofed, or bypassed. Okay, but I'm not an architect, Emma said reasonably. I'm from Earth. We barely figured out space travel 200 years ago. My grandparents didn't even have smartphones. Exactly. Azila pulled up another file, a genetic profile extracted from architect remains found in archaeological sites across the galaxy. The architects were bipedal, carbon-based, with DNA structures similar to most modern species but with specific markers that made their genetics unique. No living species matches these markers. We've tested thousands of candidates over the centuries. The genetic lock should be impossible to bypass without actual architect DNA. She turned to Emma, her analytical scanner already running. Which means you shouldn't be able to... The scanner completed its sweep, and Azila went very still. Her 6 eyes widened in synchronization, a response her species only exhibited during extreme shock. What? Emma asked nervously. Is something wrong with me? You're carrying architect genetic markers, Azila whispered. Not all of them. Not complete, but enough that the interface is recognizing you as compatible. Kael'thas's backup systems were painting an even grimmer picture. The artifact isn't just active anymore, he said, watching streams of data cascade across his hardened terminal. It's rewriting our security protocols, not breaking them, updating them. It's treating our entire defense infrastructure like outdated software that needs patching. Can you stop it? Zilax demanded from his hologram. Stop it? I can barely track what it's doing. Kael'thas pulled up a network visualization that showed the facility's systems being restructured in real time. It's creating new access pathways, implementing encryption I've never seen, establishing communication channels that don't exist in our technology base. This is beyond my expertise. This is beyond anyone's expertise. Emma looked down at the weapon, then back at the assembled aliens, and then she did something that made Kael'thas's respiratory system seize. She laughed, actually laughed, the sound echoing through the vault with inappropriate cheerfulness. Wait, you mean this thing thinks I'm in charge? Emma said between chuckles. Like, it looked at me and said, Yep, she's definitely qualified to control all your military stuff. I work in IT support. Last week my biggest crisis was resetting passwords for people who forgot them. Again. The weapon pulsed in what Kael'thas was starting to recognize as affirmative response. New displays appeared, showing authorization levels that made his translator implant struggle with the sheer scope: Supreme Command Authority, Founder Class Permissions, Unrestricted Access Granted. This isn't funny, Azila said, but her voice had lost its commanding edge. She was watching her entire worldview crumble in real time. That weapon is granting you root-level access to the Galactic Council defense infrastructure. You could... She cut off as new alerts flooded their systems. Kael'thas recognized the signatures immediately. Authentication requests. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Sir, his second officer's voice crackled through the emergency channel. We're receiving queries from military AIs across 7 sectors. They're all asking the same thing, requesting verification of new command authority registered to Emma Johnson, Homo sapiens, Earth origin. Emma's laugh died. Oh no, that's bad, isn't it? That's catastrophic, Zilax said, his hologram flickering as he accessed multiple priority channels simultaneously. Every major military system in this region is trying to authenticate you. They're treating you like a registered command authority, like you're supposed to be in their chain of command. But I'm not, Emma protested. I'm literally nobody. I sell refurbished servers for a living. Azila was staring at the ancient texts still hovering in her display, comparing them to what was happening in front of her. No living being should be able to interface with architect technology, she said slowly, her voice hollow. We've tried everything: genetic engineering, cybernetic enhancement, AI simulation. Nothing worked. The architects built systems that died with them, leaving behind artifacts that would never function again. Except this one is functioning, Kael'thas observed, which means either our understanding of architect technology is fundamentally wrong, or humans are related to them somehow, Zilax finished grimly, which opens questions I'm not prepared to answer right now. Emma was still staring at the weapon, her expression shifting from amused to genuinely worried. Can I just tell it to stop? Like, would it listen to me? Try, Azila said. If it's recognizing you as command authority, verbal directives should... Stop accessing their systems, Emma said clearly, addressing the weapon like it was a misbehaving pet. The weapon responded instantly. Every active connection terminated. The cascade of authentication requests stopped. Even the displays dimmed slightly, shifting into what looked like a standby mode. Across the facility, Kael'thas's systems reported the sudden cessation of all external queries. The silence was deafening. It just obeyed you, Azila breathed. No confirmation prompts, no verification sequence. You said stop, and it stopped. Emma looked encouraged. Okay, cool. Can you show me, I don't know, what you're actually supposed to do? The weapon blazed to life with enthusiastic compliance. Displays erupted around Emma in a three-dimensional sphere of information: command hierarchies, fleet coordination protocols, defense network topologies, strategic response matrices. Not just for one species, for six different civilizations, all their military infrastructure laid bare in perfect, crystalline detail. No! Kael'thas lunged forward, but Azila caught his arm. Too late, she said, her voice numb. She's already seeing it. All of it. Emma was turning slowly, her eyes wide as she took in the massive data visualization surrounding her. These are your actual military secrets, aren't they? Like real-time operational data, fleet positions, supply chains, command protocols. She looked at them, horrified. I shouldn't be seeing this. This is probably classified or something. Or something, Zilax repeated flatly. That information includes strategic capabilities that our species have spent millennia developing. Defensive positions that must remain secret to be effective. Command structures that, if compromised, could lead to the fall of entire civilizations. And a human who works in IT support now has access to all of it, Azila said, watching her life's work, her belief in the security and sanctity of architect technology, dissolve like sugar in water. Kael'thas felt something break inside him, some fundamental understanding of how the universe worked. His entire career had been built on maintaining security, on ensuring that the Council's military infrastructure remained impregnable, unknowable, safe. And now a human tourist was casually browsing through classified data that should have been impossible to access. The weapon wasn't broken, Zilax said, his hologram displaying an expression Kael'thas had never seen on the chief intelligence officer's face before. Defeat. All these millennia, we assumed it was dead because it wouldn't respond to us, but it was never broken. It was just waiting. Waiting for what? Kael'thas asked, though he already knew the answer. For someone with the right genetic compatibility to pick it up. Zilax looked at Emma with something between awe and terror. For a human. Emma stood in the center of the vault, surrounded by the military secrets of 6 civilizations, holding a weapon that had just revealed her species as walking master keys to the galaxy's most secure systems. So, she said with forced brightness, this is probably going to complicate my visa application, isn't it? Azila had spent 2 centuries studying architect technology. She'd dedicated her life to understanding weapons that predated most galactic civilizations. And now, standing in the wreckage of everything she thought she knew, she made a decision that would either answer the greatest mystery in the galaxy or destroy what remained of her sanity. Access the core functions, she told Emma. What? Emma blinked at her. I don't even know what that means. The weapon has deeper systems, command protocols beneath what it's showing you now. If you're truly being recognized as architect authority, you should be able to access the fundamental control architecture. Azila gestured at the floating displays. Everything you're seeing now is just the surface interface. The real system lies beneath. Sure, but I work in IT support, not... Whatever this is, Emma said, but she was already looking at the weapon with that particular focus that had caused so much trouble. Like, I fix printers and explain to people why they need to restart their computers. I don't know how to operate ancient superweapons. Just ask it, Azila said. If my theory is correct, the weapon will adapt to you. Emma shrugged and spoke to the device like she was addressing a voice assistant. Hey, can you show me your core functions, or like your main settings? The weapon's response made Kael'thas take an involuntary step backward. Every display vanished, replaced by a single interface that materialized in front of Emma. But it wasn't written in architect glyphs or ancient command languages. It was written in perfect modern Earth Standard English. Architect Command Interface, welcome. Authorized Operator Language Protocol, English. Terra Sol System. Biometric authentication, confirmed genetic compatibility. 87.3% access level, supreme command authority. Oh my God, Zilax breathed, his hologram freezing mid-gesture. It's not translating. That's native output. The weapon is displaying in her species' language because it recognizes... He trailed off, his expression shifting through shock into dawning horror. The architects, they didn't go extinct, they evolved. That's impossible, Azila said automatically, but her voice lacked conviction. The architects disappeared 10 million years ago. Humans have only been spacefaring for 2 centuries. 2 centuries in space, Zilax corrected, his analytical mind visibly working through implications that terrified him. But how long on their planet? How long evolving? What if the architects didn't disappear? They just went home, isolated themselves on a remote world while their genetics shifted, adapted, changed over millions of years until they became human, Kael'thas finished, the words tasting like ash. You're saying humans are architects. Not architects, Zilax said, but descended from them. Divergent enough that they don't recognize their own heritage, but similar enough that their technology still recognizes them. Emma, oblivious to the existential crisis unfolding around her, was navigating the interface with the casual confidence of someone who'd spent years troubleshooting computer systems. Okay, so this is pretty intuitive actually. These look like system diagnostics. Fleet coordination. That's probably what got everyone upset earlier. Defensive protocols, strategic analysis. Oh, there's a help menu. She tapped a holographic button, and new information flooded the display. Kael'thas watched as Emma scrolled through documentation written in English, explaining the operation of a weapons system that predated most current civilizations by millions of years. Here we go, Emma said, finding something. Species recognition protocols. Let me just... She opened the file and went very still. Oh, wow. The weapon projected a new display, showing a genetic comparison chart. On one side, architect DNA. On the other, human DNA. The similarities were highlighted in blue, and there were far more blue segments than anyone had expected. At the bottom, a simple declaration, Homo sapiens, architect-descendant variant. Compatibility, confirmed. Authorization level, full command access. This is saying I'm related to the people who made this, Emma said slowly. Like, actually related. Genetically. Which means every human is potentially related to them, Kael'thas said, his mind racing through the implications. Every human who comes into contact with architect technology would be recognized as... He couldn't finish the sentence. The scope was too vast. The Council had thousands of architect artifacts in storage across dozens of facilities. Weapons, defenses, communication systems, medical technology. All of it. Supposedly dead, inert, safe. All of it potentially waiting for human contact. Azila sat down heavily on the vault floor, her combat armor making a dull thud against the reinforced surface. We built our entire galactic security infrastructure on the assumption that architect technology was dead, she said, her voice hollow. Our most secure facilities use architect locks because nothing could open them. Our most classified networks use architect encryption because it was unbreakable. Our ultimate deterrent weapons are architect designs that we've spent centuries trying to understand. And humans can just use them, Zilax said. All of them. Any of them. Emma was testing this theory, her IT support instincts apparently kicking in. She navigated through menus, accessing systems that made the assembled aliens flinch with each casual tap. Fleet coordination protocols, defense network overrides, strategic response authorization. She wasn't activating anything, just demonstrating that she could. I have complete admin access to all of your military systems, Emma said, her voice small. Like, I could theoretically authorize fleet movements, shut down defense networks, or, she pulled up another menu, override command hierarchies and issue direct orders to automated systems. To be fair, she added quickly, seeing their expressions, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just saying I could. The fact that you could is exactly the problem, Kael'thas said. You're one human, one person who happened to wander into the wrong vault, but there are billions of humans in the galaxy now. What happens when they realize what they can do? Emma looked thoughtful for a moment, then hopeful. Can I just turn it off now? Like, would that help? Try, Azila said, no longer trusting her own expertise. Okay. Hey, weapon? Emma addressed the device. Power down, full shutdown, stop doing everything. The response was immediate and absolute. The weapon's glow faded like a light on a dimmer switch. The holographic displays vanished. The interface disappeared. The device went completely inert, looking exactly like it had for the past 3 centuries, a dead artifact with no power signature whatsoever. Emma set it carefully on the examination table, and this time it stayed there, unmoving. Just like that, she said, just turned it off. Kael'thas ran a scan, nothing. No power signature, no active systems, no network connections. It was as dead as it had been this morning before Emma had touched it, because she'd told it to be. Zilax's hologram flickered as he accessed emergency channels. I'm calling an immediate classified session of the Council Security Committee, he said, his voice carrying the weight of someone who knew they were about to change galactic policy forever. This information cannot become public knowledge. If humans discover they have root access to every architect system in the galaxy, they'll have access to weapons that could destroy civilizations, Azila finished. Technology that could override our defenses, the capability to bypass every security measure we've ever developed. Or they'll fix your printers really efficiently, Emma offered with a weak smile. Look, I get that this is a huge deal, but most humans don't even know this stuff exists. We're just living our lives, working jobs, trying to figure out space traffic laws. We're not trying to take over the galaxy. Not intentionally, Zilax agreed, but the capability exists whether you intend to use it or not, and that changes everything about how we integrate your species into galactic society. Kael'thas looked at the inert weapon, then at Emma, then at the security systems he'd spent his career maintaining, systems that had just been revealed as fundamentally compromised by the mere existence of humanity. We need new protocols, he said, new security frameworks, new everything. And we need to ensure, Zilax added grimly, that no human ever enters an architect artifact storage facility again, at least not until we understand the full scope of this capability. Emma raised her hand tentatively. So, can I go? I really do have a server migration scheduled for tonight. Kael'thas was already drafting emergency protocols before Emma had fully turned toward the vault exit. His command tablet, newly rebooted and sporting security patches he didn't remember installing, displayed the framework for what would become the most restrictive access policy in Council history. Directive Alpha Architect: no human personnel permitted within 500 meters of any classified artifact storage facility. Azila worked through her personal archive with mechanical precision, her 6 eyes scanning centuries of collected data. Every architect weapon, every piece of dormant technology, every dead artifact that museums and military installations had assumed was safely inert. All of it needed immediate quarantine. All of it was potentially a loaded weapon waiting for human contact. 17,000 cataloged items, she muttered, spread across 43 worlds, and those are just the ones we know about. Zilax's hologram split into multiple instances as he simultaneously drafted security directives, briefed council members, and established new classification levels. His primary form focused on the document that would reshape human integration. Species-level security. Restriction: Homo sapiens, architect-compatible genetic markers confirmed. Clearance limitations. Emma stood by the vault door, shifting her weight awkwardly. So, can I go? I have a server migration scheduled for tonight. My boss is going to kill me if I'm late, and honestly, after today, dealing with angry customers sounds really normal and nice. Yes, go, Zilax said distractedly, already focused on containing the implications rather than the person. Your visa is... Well, we'll handle the paperwork. Just go. Emma didn't need to be told twice. She practically fled the vault, her footsteps echoing in the corridor outside. Through his security feeds, Kael'thas watched her stop at the facility entrance, look back once at the building that contained secrets she didn't fully understand, and shake her head. She pulled out her personal comm and called someone. Hey, Sarah. Yeah, I'm finally done with that museum tour. You would not believe the day I've had. The security feed showed her walking away, chatting casually about getting dinner, completely unaware that she'd just been reclassified as a cosmic-level security threat by 3 separate galactic intelligence agencies. Emma laughed at something her friend said, the sound carrying back through the facility's external sensors. Right? Weird day. Anyway, I'm starving. Want to grab noodles? She disappeared into the evening crowds of the station, just another human tourist heading to dinner. Inside Vault 7, 3 of the galaxy's top security experts stared at the inert weapon on the examination table and began the long, terrifying process of rebuilding everything they thought they knew about keeping the galaxy safe. From humans who just wanted noodles and had no idea they were walking master keys to civilization itself.